you are listening via the app or on your computer, definitely participate in our chat. And then head on over to Twitter. The hashtag is SSPC13 if you're listening to the replays. Go there still. We're going to be tweeting for a couple of days and say, hey, I'm listening to the replays. I love it. Thank you so much so that we can expand your power circle. Now we've got one of our lovely speakers, our lovely, lovely ladies on today, Tamika Newhouse. And Tamika's going to be talking about recognizing your purpose and executing it, how writers can launch a book and stand out from the rest. You know, all of my Power Circle ladies are really near and dear to me for one way, shape, or form. And I was talking about my speakers with my hubby, and I said, do you remember a logo I did like several years ago, and there's a girl and she's reading a book, and he's like, yeah. I was like, she's going to be speaking. That's Tamika Newhouse. And she's like,
oh
my
God, yeah.
And that was way back in the day. And so, you know, I've been working with these ladies for such a long time. They are powerhouses. They specialize in this. They know, and they do it well when it comes to books. So thank you so much, Tamika, for being on the call today. I am ready to rock. I'm handing it over to you.
I almost got emotional there, you know, right? Because you did create the logo for AANBC, and do you not know that that was the foundation to the beginning of my literary journey? Like, that's, you know, this is crazy. It's like coming back full circle. This is awesome. Like, dude, I almost got emotional. And then you also did my company logo, Delphine.
Yes.
This is crazy. So, hey, girl, how you doing? Like, I'm back. I need to start bothering you again. But I do really, really appreciate you for allowing me to come onto this platform and to express a lot of the things I experienced over the past 6 years, which is pretty cool because you saw me at the very beginning when I had nothing, you know, when I was just a baby. So this is great. This is great. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So my name is Tamika Newhouse. I am many, many things in this industry as far as a publisher and author. I do book marketing, management, virtual tours, and events for authors. I perform interviews. I'm a columnist. I'm a blogger. Whatever you can think of, I do, and I'm also a book coach. The thing about it, when you step into this business, writers who are artists, we are all artists, and I think that all artists are crazy, whether you are an artist of literature, you're an artist of music, you're an artist of artistry, what else, performing arts. We're all pretty crazy because we're creative souls, and creative souls could be very, very obsessive. You know, we could be obsessive, and we're constantly just thinking of different ideas. Our minds never stop. So when a writer is sitting down and writing this book, their project, they're so consumed in the craft of it all. They're so consumed in the stories that they're creating and the characters and lives they have birthed. And they fail to realize just what it takes to get that story out there to the masses. It takes a lot. And it's not like it was even when I came in 6 years ago. It's really, really different because this industry is so overly saturated with with people who are not natural-born writers, mainly because of technology. Technology is taking over almost everything. The other day, I was sitting at home watching a commercial of a vacuum that vacuums your floors on its own, and you can time it, and it can vacuum your whole house while you're gone. I'm like, really? So it's like they're building America to not only be just a little bit more lazy, but we're so codependent on technology. And the book industry is no different. Everything is on the internet, including now our books. First it was CDs. You know, people didn't think that people were going to stop buying the CDs. And then, you know, the downloads and the iTunes and all that just took over the whole music industry. And what did you end up seeing? You saw a lot of artists, musical artists who had these major deals start going independent or creating their own labels because they could cut out the middleman, those top dogs. They didn't necessarily need a record company to give them a record deal to put out music. They can go to the studio, create music, and upload it into a website, and that is the same as it is when it comes to books. But what people fail to realize is an artist, although you can be as talented as you want, but because there's so many people out there now, that's because it's so easy to publish work, you have to really be that much more creative to stand out. So when there was maybe 100 new artists coming out every year, we now have thousands upon thousands of people coming out with books every year. So how do you stand out? How can people know about your book? What's going to make them want to buy your book versus the other thousands of people that came out with a book this year? And that's pretty much what I'm going to talk to you about, which is recognizing your purpose and executing it. So step one is to recognize who you are as an author and as a brand. A lot of new artists fail to realize that they are the brand. The book is a part of them. So you will initially see new writers come out and they're pushing their book. They're pushing the title versus pushing their name and pushing their image along with the book. So it's ways you have to pretty much market yourself and incorporate your product with that when your product is your book. And the way you can do that, the way to recognize who you are is recognize your style. How do you want people to look at you? How do you look? I know when I first started out, my image was totally different, and I post a lot of how I used to look in the very beginning and how I look now, often so people can see my transition, because I had to make a lot of mistakes initially starting out until I got to this point to where I am now. And then I'm still continuously making changes. But you have to really understand who you are as a person and your style. And when I mean like your style, I mean how do you physically look? How are you physically dressing? How can people perceive you? You can look at understanding you are an artist too, just like a musical artist. When an artist gets a music deal, they have these different people that come in and work on their image. They work on how they're going to speak, how their hair is going to look, how their clothes is going to look, how they walk, things like that. And, anything you can think of as far as working on your image. So you have to understand what your style is. What are some of the things, what's some of your unique look that's going to attract people to you? You can't go to a book signing in jeans and a T-shirt and tennis shoes. Well, you can, but I wouldn't recommend for you to do it. You need to pretty much look the part. You want people to take you seriously. You want people to invest in you. Well, you have to look the part. You have to look clean. You have to look elegant, and you have to look put together. So understand what your style is going to be. Now, your style has to go with your personality. So if you are a little bit conservative and reserved, of course you're not going to go and wear something that's very revealing, tight-fitted, things like that. You can look at Arthur Mary B. Morrison. Her image is very sexual. She reveals a lot of her boudoir, her breast. She's very revealing with her cleavage because that's the image that she puts out there. And she writes under the pseudonym Honey Bee, which is an erotic storyteller. So that is her image. So because she writes erotic stories, she wants to also look that way and come off as someone who's sexual, like a sexual being. So understand what your personality is, and you have to match that with how you look. For an example, I am a plain Jane. I am literally plain. I'm very predictable. I mean, I have like a predictable style, and I know that. So, and I didn't know how to necessarily color coordinate, what shoes to wear, what dress is right for my frame, things like that. So I had to take it a step forward and actually hire an image consultant. So I hired a firm to pretty much transform me. They helped me how to do my makeup. They helped me with different styles that was good for the shape of my face. They helped me understand the right size pants to wear, the right dresses to wear, the shoes that go with me, the accessories, what may be too much, maybe too little, blah, 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 the color, lipstick that goes with my lips, all of that. They taught me how to do all those things so that I could do it on my own. So after learning who I was and my style and my personality, what I like and dislike, I took that and I created my own image and how I wanted people to perceive me. So I have my own style. So now when readers and other colleagues and those alike go and they look at my pictures or things like whatever, they see my style and they have an idea of how I'm going to look. You can take Miley Cyrus, for example, from the music awards when she was practically naked dancing on stage. She got so much backlash because her image before was Hannah Montana, was like the good girl image. And now she's in transition of changing her image to like the bad girl. And it's matching her music. And it's matching the things that comes out of her mouth. So you pretty much have to think of yourself as an artist. Who are you? What is your style? What do you like? What do you dislike? And you have to run with it. And that's going to help you, once you recognize who you are, it's going to help you learn how to market yourself. And oftentimes, writers do not realize that they are the brand. You are physically the brand, and the book is a part of you. You have to really realize what makes you unique, okay? Of course you wrote a book. Great. You wrote a book. That's awesome, but what makes me want to buy your book? You have to create different ways for people to be attracted to you. And it could be by the words you say. It could be by what events you go to, the people you hang out with, how you look, how you wear your hair, all of that. But what makes you unique is your story and how people can relate to you. So you have to dig within your background. Go within your skeletons in your closet, or go within your past and evaluate from where you came from and what pieces of your life you can use to throw into the forefront for people to relate to. My own unique story is I was a teen mother. Teen pregnancy has been here forever and a day. So, of course, people are like, okay, you was a teen mother, that's great. Well, I've seen a lot of people that were teen mothers, and they end up becoming, successful and things like that. I mean, that doesn't necessarily hinder you. But what makes me unique with that is I took my teen pregnancy and the fact that I started in a company at the age of 20, and I used that as I found a balance within taking on early responsibilities and still yet following and pursuing my dreams and my efforts that I want to achieve in life. So you have to pretty much find something that you feel people will be inspired by. They want to get to know you. Why does social media exist? Why does Twitter and Instagram and Facebook exist? Why do celebrities who make millions upon millions of dollars, why do they even bother to be on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook? Well, they have fans and they have followership. And so say, for instance, an actor is, let's say Idris Elba. He's on Facebook. Of course, a lot of women will follow him because he's Idris Elba, he's good looking, whatever. But his followers want to get a peek into his life. They want to know, who is he? What does he do? What does he like? Where does he go? What does he eat? And so it's up to you to choose what you're going to allow people to see and not to see. But you want to humanize yourself a little bit because you want people to get to know you as a person. You want people to follow you. And I always tell my authors and the people that I work with that we're not salesmen. You're not salesmen by far. You're not traveling from state to state to sell a book. That's not going to help you. You're not trying to get $15. You're trying to build a fan base. And that's what celebrities and, musicians and things are doing, building their fan base. So when Idris is out and about acting in a new film and a new movie, you'll often see him post the release date. You'll often see him say, I'm on set doing yada, yada, yada. He's setting up his fans to get ready to invest in him by going and go see his movie. And that's exactly what you're doing, is posting things about, I'm doing this today, I'm going to the gym, I'm setting up for my tour, I'll be in Cleveland to sign copies of my book, and yada, yada, yada. You're setting people up to follow you and invest in your project, which is going to be your book. But you want people to keep coming back to you, and for them to keep coming back, you have to interest them. So you can post inspirational little quotes on your page, love quotes. You can be humorous, but you have to pretty much be you and let people into your world. And you can set the limits on what you want them to know and what you don't want them to know. But at the end of the day, you want them to keep coming back to you because you want them to continue to invest in you and what it is that you're doing. Number 3, after you have discovered your uniqueness and you have pretty much pinpoint your story that you're going to throw out there for people to relate to, you have to research your competitors. So that's number 3. And you may say, why should I research my competitors? Well, of course, you shouldn't jump into any industry without knowing any foundation of what it is that other people are doing. You want to see what they're doing so that you can either match them or go above and beyond. So how you can do this, you can go to literary events that are near, and you can search literary events and book club events and things like that, festivals or whatever, by starting with Google. Google's going to be your best friend. Google and search words of your city, books, authors, all that to see what will come up. And try to go to the closest one so that you can physically see how authors have their table set up, and go in there as a reader, see how they're going to pitch their book to you, see how the format is, ask them if it was worth it. Pretty much you're going there to do research. And you can go into the bookstores. You can go on Barnes and Nobles, and you can roam the aisles, and you can look at the covers. You can look at the messages of the covers. If it's a romance novel and it's romance that you write, you can see what type of images they put on these romance novels and how they're marketing and pitching them. You can take it a step further, and you can Google some of these authors and go to their website. See what events they're going to. See how clean their websites are. See how how their bios are written. Or see some of the authors they're connected to, or see who they've worked with, what media they've reached out to, things like. So pretty much you need to know what are other people doing so that I can either do it, match the same thing that they're doing, or go above and beyond. You never want to be behind your competitors. You don't want your competitors to get to that destination before you. It's a race. And not only that, remind you, there are thousands of people coming in with books every year. So not only do you not want the current people to get ahead of you, but those who are ahead of you, you want to catch up to them. And then for those who are coming in, you don't want them to catch up to them. You want to stay ahead of them. So it's all about continuing on your research and staying ahead. So number 3 is to research your competitors. And that should never stop. You should always be looking at to see what other people are doing so that you can match it or do better. After you've started researching your competitors and you have an idea of what it is that you need to do, you have to really kind of think outside the box, and that's number 4. If you see authors going to this particular event in Chicago, it would be great, or it would be okay for you to also do that same event, but you also want to do something that is a little bit abnormal. It's kind of ideal to do a book conference or a book festival and things like that, but how about going to like a shoe store and connecting with like that shoe store to host a party and connect with them and cross-brand with that store and say for instance, on the cover of your book, it's a woman in heels or shoes or something like that, and you can create a unique shoe that's named after your book. And you can have, say for instance, if you buy a pair of shoes this day, you can get your book for like $10, a picture with the author, an autograph, have little samples of foods and things there. It's all about setting different lanes for yourself. You don't want to go to and advertise on the same websites as everyone else. You don't want to reach out to the same magazines as everyone else. You don't want to go to the same events as everyone else. It's a lot. You just don't want to really follow the crowd. You want to make sure that you are you're outside of the crowd or in front of it. You don't want to pretty much just follow along with everybody else because everybody else is reaching out to the same outlets. You don't want to do that. So you want to make sure that you stand out and you think outside the box and be unique. We are unique anyway. We are writers and we are creative creatures. So this should not be as difficult as you would think. Find something that relates to you. So if you like to go running, if you're a runner, find something how you can incorporate your books into a marathon or a runner's group or something that involves what you love to do. So you can start there. So start with figuring out what it is that you like that you can incorporate your books into. Number 5 is creating a marketing plan that maps out what you would like to do. And these things need to be realistic, people. You have to be realistic with your marketing plans. I will hear all the time, I want to get on the Michael Bazin show. How do I get Steve Harvey to read my book? I want to be on Oprah's chosen book list. okay, that's great. Everybody wants to do that. But what are you going to do in the beginning to set the tone for you to ultimately get to that? It's not going to come overnight. So you have to come up with different things that's going to ultimately get to that ultimate goal that you want to go to. And I always say, create a marketing plan for each quarter. And each quarter is spring, summer, winter, fall. Every quarter, do something different. See what events are being done in your local area, and as well as events you feel are worth to travel out to. See where readers are going to be. Say, for instance, in the winter, do an ad on Facebook. And what comes out of in the spring, you can really focus on blogs. In the summer, when people are traveling, you can really focus on e-blasts or magazine ads or, music festivals and things like that. Every quarter should be different. And then going into the new year, you should not be going to the same event, reaching out to the same media that you did the previous year. Why would you continue to do the same thing every year, year after year? I do not do that at all, mainly because I'm not growing with doing the same thing every year. So, for instance, my first year I started out, I traveled heavily to book club events, book festivals, just a lot of book club events and book festivals. The year after that, I created a lot of my own events. I created little small intimate book club meetings. I would call them chocolate chats. We'll have little chocolate treats and wines, and we'll sit around in an intimate setting in a restaurant or someone's home or a lounge, and we'll discuss the book. We'll do a signing. We'll do pictures and things like that. And I always have something going on and rotating on social media. And so you always want to attach social media to that, because not everyone's not going to be physically where you are. So people want to see you being busy, people want to see you being out and about, and people want to be interested and intrigued in what you're doing. So if a reader sees that you were in Oakland at an intimate book signing with the Reading Divas of like 30 women or whatever, you're posting pictures of you and the Reading Divas holding a book, eating, things like that. Your readers may see that from a distance, intrigued by what that is, seeing the smiles on the readers' faces and like, oh, this must be a really good book. Let me see what this book is about. So you always want to expose yourself, what you're doing in person, you always want to expose it online as well. So always create a different, maybe, so if you did the book conferences and things like that the year before, the next year maybe you're doing women events. You're doing music festivals. You're creating your own book signings at different bookstores, things like that. You're hosting, if you did a giveaway in the spring, then maybe you're going to do like an outreach, giving back outreach event around the holidays or something like that, to keep your name circulating, to keep yourself involved in doing different things. So in other words, create your marketing plan and make sure that it's different and it's unique every year and as well as every quarter. And also outsource to different media. So you don't want to reach out to the same bloggers year after year after year. You want to make sure that you research and you connect with different bloggers and different magazines, because they have a different reach. They have different readers. You want to advertise with different people. You want to advertise with the same people every year, because they have different outlets and they have different readers. To make sure that you're also changing that up as well. So that's number 5. Create a marketing plan that maps out what you would like to do. And it definitely has to be realistic, and it needs to be in your budget. Not everyone has the same amount of money they can spend. And when you're making your marketing plan, you have to understand that you will oftentimes have to spend money. And sometimes I get clients that I'm working with, and they do not want to spend money on marketing their books, which I'm very confused, because I'm like, you want people to invest in you by buying your book, but you don't want to invest in yourself. That doesn't make sense at all. I always tell people, how can you expect for people to spend their money on it and you don't want to spend money on yourself? So it's you're contradicting yourself. So you have to really create, just if it's $500 in that 1 year, okay, but then you need to really research and sit down and see how can you spend that $500 and not go over budget. There's ways to really go about it. So the more that you sit down and kind of dissect a lot of things that you're spending, you won't go over budget and you won't end up being in the red so much. But understand when you're really beginning and starting this journey that you're not going to have as much coming in as you're going out because you really have to invest in yourself. And that's in any business. And that's the number one thing that readers fail to realize. This is a business. The business part of this industry is about 80%. This is 80% business, and 20% is the actual writing of the book. So once you're actually done writing the book, that's pretty much it. You have to really, everything else is business. You have to kind of be smart, and you have to research, you have to be open-minded, and you have to stay consistent with a lot of things that you have to do in this business. Number 6, I would recommend for you to create an event that launches you into this business. That is my recommendation. Every year I host a launch event for my company. We're launching our new titles, or we're launching our current titles. And I will attach some media to it. I will attach some sponsors to it. And I will attach a host to it. And the host will be a celebrity host or a popular blogger or things like that, et cetera, et cetera. And the reason why I do that is to continue to gain exposure and to gain new audience. But when you're first starting off, it will be ideal or be helpful for you to think that you can't do this on your own. Know that you can't do this on your own. You will get so much further if you invest your time and money with people to assist you to get to the level you want to get to. Understand, though, that the launch is not on the book. It's not on the book at all. The launch is going to be on you. We're going to be marketing you and promoting you as an author who wrote such and such. And also, for instance, your website link should not even be your book title. I've seen plenty of authors whose website is a book title. So say, for instance, your book is called Flowers in the Attic. They're going to put their website flowersintheattic.com. Well, what's going to happen when you come out with the book called The Love I Never Had? Will they still have to go to flowersintheattic.com? I don't get it. So you always want to make it easier for people to find you. Make it as if we're stupid. Make it as if readers are stupid and they're lazy and, they wouldn't know how to find you. So make it easy. So make everything your name. For example, everything is my name. My website, my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook. Anything you can think of is Tanika Newhouse. So even if they can't remember anything, they know that they can just search my name on any network and it'll pop up because everything is physically my name. So once you have sat back and decided, okay, let's create an event either virtually or physically and see how can I launch myself into this business. When you do that, say for instance you're going to do a launch party, and a launch party is not just inviting your friends and family. I need you to really, really understand that. Inviting your friends and family is great. That is not a book launch. That is a gathering. That is just a party. A book launch should have plenty of media attached to this event that's going to give you exposure after the fact. They have blogs, they have websites, they have social media sites or whatever that they're going to put you on and expose you more. You also want people invited there that do not know you. How is it beneficial to have a room of 50 people that already know you? That is not benefiting you. Why are you spending money to host an event, quote unquote, a party, for everyone else? You need to be investing your money in a publicist or a blogger or a local promoter that could expose you and your book to people who do not know you and make the event attractive enough for them to want to come out. How I attract people to come to my events is to attach a celebrity to it. People regular people like to see regular James and Joes like to see celebrities because they feel celebrities are interesting. Like, say, for instance, if you watch the Real Housewives of Atlanta, people are fans of Nene Leakes. So, of course, they will want to see Nene Leakes. But whoever you have attached to your event, you want to make sure that they do not overshadow you. So your name needs to, even though, say, for instance, I had Nene Leakes come host my event, even though Nene Leakes is so popular and she's so famous, I will put my name above her because it's not a Nene Leakes event. Nene Leakes is supporting Tanika Newhouse. So you want to make sure that your name is pushed forward and she's just an added act to the event. because you don't want this to become an event that's not on you. So you want to make sure that you're very, very careful with that. So once you create an event that launches you into the business, you want to make sure you get that coverage of that event after the fact. So make sure you have your media there. And if you can't, if these are things that you necessarily cannot do on your own, really research and see who can help you get it done. And you can always ask around. You can see who other people have used. And then before you actually physically hand over money, because you want to make sure that the people who say they can do what they say they can do, they can actually do it. And lastly, you have to stay consistent on your goals, and you have to be versatile. Just because you did this on this year, you need to be able to switch it up every year. As I stated, never do the same thing every year. Number one thing, never get too comfortable. A lot of times, right now I'm in my 6th year. I have 10 books out. I still hustle. I still move. I still lack sleep. All of that as if I just came out with a book yesterday. I never assume that this person knows me, and I never assume that this person has read my book. I always, when I walk up to a reader, if I'm at an event, if I walk up to someone, even if in fact they do know me, I still walk up to them and introduce myself as, I'm Tamika Newhouse. I wrote such and such, yada, yada, yada. I'm never going to assume that these readers and these people know me. You never assume that, because it's 300 million people in the United States. Somebody hasn't read your book. Okay, so not everyone in this country alone has read your book. So there's always going to be someone who hasn't read it. So never get comfortable enough where you feel, I hustled so hard this year. Now I'm going to kind of take it easy and go slow this next year because I don't want to do too much. I feel like I did enough last year to kind of set the tone, and it will keep growing. And wrong. And the reason why that's wrong, because, again, thousands of writers are coming out every year. And those new writers are hungry, hungrier than you, are just as hungry. And if your hunger dies down, what's going to end up happening is they're going to pass you, and you're going to end up being at the bottom. So it's sad to say, but you have to always hustle and continue to get out there and be creative as if your book just came out yesterday, consistently over and over and over and over and over. Unless you're a Terry McMillan, an Eric Jerome Dickey, a James Patterson, all those other people. It's a lot of people out there. They're really, 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 really famous, and they're millionaires as authors. Unless you're them, I would say you need to kind of really stay on your T's and Q's because, again, it can really, really die down. People can forget about you. You can be very forgetful very, very quickly because you're not a leader or you're not at the top of the list in this business. I'm not at the top of this list in this business, and I'm still yet always trying to get there, always trying to make way. And I would often meet people who think that I am at that certain level, and I never, never, never put myself there. I never really agree, or in other words, I don't really wallow in the praises and the glory because to me it would cause me to lose focus on what it is I need to do. And what it is I need to do is stay focused on my continued hustle, my continued branding, and my continued growth in this business. Because if I don't work, I don't eat. So never get too comfortable. Always stay consistent. And always think of different ways to stay ahead. And always think of different ways to catch up to those who are ahead of you. Always be, and then invest in yourself. So let me recap the 7 steps. Recognize who you are as an author and your brand. Discover what makes you unique and use your story. Pull out the most important puzzle you feel that people can relate to and market that and go with it. Research your competitors. Always know what other people are doing so that you can either do it, match it, or do more. Think outside the box. Never be common, never be predictable. As I called myself, plain Jane and predictable. Never be predictable and never follow the crowd and do what they're doing. Never go to the same events. Never go to the same media. Always switch it up and try to do something differently. Have them looking at you like, dang, she did that? How did she get that done? How did her book get in this store? Like always think of different ways to be different. Always think of the ways to be different and to stand out. And because we are creative creatures, you can start with what makes you unique. What are some things that you like, and pull that out and utilize that. That's how you can get started, is by pulling out some of your own personal traits that you like to do. Number 5, create a marketing plan. Map out your plan for quarterly purposes and for a yearly purpose. And always remember, every quarter should be different. Every year should be different. No year should be the same. Number 6, create an event that launches you into the business. And then the event should hold many media to get you that exposure that you need. Everything is online. Always remember that. Everything is online. So although you don't physically see a lot of artists going out there doing physical book signings and actually out there at physical events, it is still very important to still do those things. You don't have to do it as aggressively and as much as people did 6 years ago, 10 years ago, because those days are really over. A lot of people are now reading their books on the computer. So now you have to really utilize both, in my opinion. So still get out there and physically push your book, because not everyone is online, and then not every consumer is online. And then you have to remember there's thousands of artists out there who are online marketing their book. So you have an overly saturated industry of people that's posting all the time. And you have readers that's getting annoyed all the time. So where are readers really looking to get their book recommendations? And then lastly, you have to stay consistent on your goals and be versatile. So be willing to kind of get uncomfortable a little bit. Be willing to do something that you wouldn't normally do. Be willing to invest in yourself. And you have to stay consistent with it. There is no point in you investing in yourself this year, traveling heavily, paying for these ads and doing all this 1 year, and then the next year you do nothing. Because the minute that you try to start to do what you were doing before again, you have to start it from the very beginning. It's like you have to start all the way over. So you cannot quit. You cannot slow down. You really have to stay consistent with your goals and what it is you're trying to do. Me personally, if you have any questions about what it is that I do personally, and kind of if you want to take example of what I do and to see how I perceive and pitch myself over social media, and also to look at my online book club to see how it is I work with other authors and what I do for their books and how we market them. The book club website is AAM Book Club. That's Apple Mary Book Club .com. My email is also aambookclub@gmail.com. My company website, so you can see how it is I create our covers, I pitch the company. For you to see how I do that, you can go to my company website, which is delphinepublications.com. Delphine is DELPHINE. That's D as in dog, E as in Easter, L, P as in Paul, HINE as in Easter, publications with an S.com. That company's social media is Delphine Publications on Facebook, Delphine Pub on Instagram, and Delphine Pub on Twitter. And if you want to know more about me personally and what it is I'm doing, events I'm going to, the books I have written, et cetera, my website is Tamika Newhouse. That's Tamika with an I. And that's Tamika Newhouse, like I bought a new house.com, Tamika Newhouse on Twitter, Boss Lady Tamika on Instagram. My Facebook is Tamika Newhouse. And then my blog. I'm also a blogger. And so how I use my blog, I market it as a lifestyle blog, and I blog about love, romance, fashion, music, reality TV shows, entertainment, movies, all of that. I blog on the Passionate Spot. And my blog is passionatespot.com. And so I do all these different things, and I create a schedule to kind of stay consistent with it, and I write on a daily basis. So I just make sure that I utilize my time, and I'm never just sitting still, always staying on it. So those are all of my resources. To me, that is how you can pretty much launch yourself into this business and execute it but you really, really have to recognize who you are as a person to even get started. So sit back and really kind of, if you have to make a list of your characteristics and things that you like, do that. Find a person that you can really look at and not idolize, but look up to, and see how they're pitching and marketing themselves. And don't be afraid to imitate that. You're not copying them. You're not being a follower. You're pretty much learning who you are. And you're going to take elements of things that they do, and then you're going to incorporate and place yourself in things that who you are in your own efforts. But if you have any questions, definitely contact me. I'm on everything. But that's pretty much it. And I'm going to turn the floor back over to Ms. Henry.
Tamika, thank you so much and I feel like I'm losing my voice. It's been a long day. Thank you so much for being a part of today and sharing. One of the things that I really liked is that you said you got to stay hungry. I know as an entrepreneur, sometimes I get complacent. You know, you've got your customers, you're making money. Things are okay, but you really have to stay hungry so that you're consistently making happen what you need to happen. Now,
yes.
Ladies, if you have a question for Tamika, please hit *6 that you can ask a question before we go, or interrupt me because I do have to ask you a question. Do you feel like there's one thing in particular that you kind of remember as a challenging moment or experience for you as an author?
Yes, one of my challenging moments was knowing when to shut up. Yes,
That's
knowing when to shut up. Yes, because as I speak a lot on branding, right? And you don't want to, I didn't want to come off as a hard ass or someone who was rude, standoffish, and you just kind of just speaks a lot of just nonsense. And when I first got into this industry, you have not just in this industry, but our community and our people as a whole, and anything that we do, we're not as supportive as we should be as a lot of other races. We would try to pull each other down versus actually helping to build a ladder to help all of us, get to that success level. And there's really not a lot of ladders of success and people giving each other a helping hand. And so when I got into this business, I noticed the cliques, and I noticed the separation, and I noticed the negativity. And there was a lot of negativity being thrown my way, mainly because I was very, very young. I was 21 when I got into this business, and I was matching a lot of people that had been in the business for 10 years, who was 10 years older than me, 20 years older than me. And they was like, well, who's this young one coming in here thinking, she can come and take my place? Like, it's crazy. It's like we're fighting over one reader, and there's millions of readers out there.
Right.
And so one of my challenging things I had to learn as a young woman, I had to learn it the hard way. You don't have to speak on everything. You don't have to really talk back on everything. You can really just be quiet, and you can kind of just let people just kind of yell at a wall at themselves. Be a wall and turn a deaf ear and a blind eye to all that nonsense. You don't have to really speak, so you have to really learn to shut up and really learn to pick your battles. It's unnecessary. You're not in the business to be a part of cliques and to befriend authors. And don't forget where you come from. Don't forget why you got into this business. Don't forget your love for writing. You want people to get into your world and to love your characters and love your stories that you tell. And I had to really evaluate myself and learn that I'm not in this business to befriend them. I don't care if they like me or not. Why am I fighting back so much for these people to understand me and for these people to like me? That's not important. What's important are my readers and my supporters. And I had to really learn it the hard way, and I had to really learn to shut up. But that was after I was yelling and speaking and trying to voice my opinion. So I had to learn it the hard way. So really learn to shut up and, just stay focused.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, again, Tamika, thank you. I'm just going to have a moment of silence here if anyone wants to hit *6, and either you want to ask a question or just you've got an aha moment. There have been some wonderful tweets. So again, make sure you're going to hashtag SSPC13 to share your aha moments and your business so that you can expand your circle inside the Power Circle today. But yes, thank you, Tamika. Thank you so much for being a part of.
Thank you.
I can't even just say the conference, but being a part of the business. We've known each other in one way, shape, or form, and we've been growing individually. but coming
Yes,
together.
you have. Congratulations to you as well, because I've been watching your network from afar. And I know we don't talk on a daily basis, but I know that we get so busy in our own world.
Yeah.
But you have really done it. You are doing an excellent, excellent job. And I can see this one day becoming into a physical thing, being something really, really big. And I'm going to speak that out there, and and hopefully you agree with me, and something that's something you want to do in the future. But definitely keep moving forward. I love this because a lot of people don't. You're giving back. This takes time. People have to understand this takes time, and it takes commitment.
And as you can hear, I'm losing my voice already.
Yeah, I mean, it takes and that's a sacrifice you're giving. You're sacrificing your voice.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love that. That's being very selfless, and I commend you on continuing your efforts and inspiring women and inspiring us being businessmen and following our dreams and our aspirations. Definitely keep doing it, and I commend you on that. It's not being overlooked at all. I see it.
Oh, thank you. I truly, truly appreciate that. Ladies, like I said, if you do have a question, let Tamika know. You can contact her, check out her website, read her books. I know you all are writers, but we've got quite a few book lovers, right? I know my bookshelf can use a few new books. Mama needs to relax.
Yes.
So definitely engage, connect, interact, and support. I think that's the key for us right now. So again, Tamika, thank you so much. You're free to, participate, hang out, listen to the next speaker, and I'm sure we'll talk, right?
Yes, we will. We do. We definitely will. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Okay, ladies, thank you so much for continuing to keeping on inside the circle. For those of you who are actually physically listening in via your phones, make sure you go to Twitter, hashtag SSPC13. We've got about 10 minutes so that you can kind of stretch, relax, relate, release before we go into the next session. Just so happy. I've got so many wonderful women in my circle, and it's just really, for me, a blessing when I get to do these things. And if you've enjoyed the sessions thus far, definitely feel free to send me an email. I love it when you guys go to the actual website, which is b2b.sistersense.com. There's a comment box at the bottom. Just leave a comment and let me know what your thoughts are, because through those comments, I told you I'm losing my voice, but I really love the comments because I get a sense of what you like, what you didn't like, and that's how we grow. That's how I expand. That's how I get more people excited about it when you all engage and interact and comment, because it is a community, and that does truly help me stay motivated and grow. When there's not enough commenting, I'm like, oh, no, what goes on? So, I don't want to have that oh, no feeling. I definitely get encouraged, and I'm motivated to continue to do what I do, and I love what I do. So I definitely participate. That's a great way to really get the most of our circle. So as I mentioned before, just, a few things before we get ready for the next session. Outside of our session for today, and, Tamika spoke on, putting it out there, having bigger live physical in-person conferences in the future. And of course, we're kicking things off in January with the Power Circle Conference at the Aloft Hotel, which is live but also virtual. And definitely participate in that as well. Plus, I've got my weekly Jumpstart Your Business calls. For those of you, if you're not a part of that, definitely join. It's $7 a month at join.sistersense.com so that you can participate, engage. And I really feel like in the mastermind group, you've got accountability. And so these last couple of sessions I've been saying, okay, well, if you do this or if you do that, I'm looking for ladies that I can do complimentary one-on-one sessions for. And, folks are sending me emails and they're like, LaShanda, this is my homework, this is what I'm doing, and I'm so excited because really women are, participating, asking questions, and really implementing. That's the key here. I remember in January at the Power Circle that we did, one of the ladies who spoke is Rochelle Shaw. She's the creator of the $1 Million Equation, and she's going to be coming out to speak again this year. And so the big theme from Rochelle was ideas make you feel good. Implementation makes you money. And so everybody's like, yes, and it's so true. You know, we're all creative beings, and we all have 1,000 ideas. But you know that saying, if I had a nickel or a dime for every good idea, right? The key here is to implement, to take the information that I'm sharing, that the other speakers are sharing, figuring out how you can apply it to yourself. And that's really what's going to help you move forward. So as I've mentioned before, just a friendly reminder for those of you who are just getting on the call or watching the replays, definitely go to unblockyourblessings.com. Sign up. It's my free 90-day challenge. It begins when you start every month for the 90-day process. Every week for the 90-day process. I give you one of my 12 steps that I've learned as far as how to make things happen, unblock those blessings so you can build your best business, life, and self. And as I mentioned before, unfortunately, the early registration has ended for the Power Circle Conference at this point. But for those of you who are here and participating in the Books Buzz Business Webinar Conference, you have a unique code for you. It's 754B3. You'll see it here at the corner of our presentation. But again, number 7, number 5, number 4, letter B, number 3. So 754B3, which actually stands for $75 off for the Books Buzz Business webinar attendees, so B3, Books Buzz Business. And again, you can use that to get $75 off either the actual ticket for the event, which again is at the Aloft Hotel here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. One of the ladies on Facebook said, that's 20 minutes away from where I live, and she was always like excited about it. So, if you're a local lady, that's wonderful. But there are quite a few ladies who are going to be coming out to participate in that. And if you can't physically come out, you can also register and get a virtual ticket, which is pretty cool. So, all right, just about 5 minutes to go just before we get back into the circle and really kind of get started with our next call. So relax, relate, release. We've got more to come.